Do your balls look mad? Well, allow me to help. This video is sponsored by Not really. You'll have to remain as hirsute as Chewbacca during lockdown in your undercrackers. Sorry, I haven't got a Manscaped sponsorship. None of the stars of this game, though, are particularly hairy anyway, more, well, gross looking. Ah, late 80s toys. They knew their market. Boys are disgusting, aren't they? Madballs, in their primary function as being balls, aren't very good even, are they? I mean, they're not smooth and they're covered in lumps. That's not very aerodynamic. They're just sort of gross. Now, if you want real Madballs with real possibilities to play sports with, what you need is one of those cheap plastic ones you get in Poundland that make you feel like you're Roberto Carlos just because, like, they don't respond to physics at all. That, my friend, is a real mad ball. Anyway, Madballs were originally created by Amtoy and were rubber and foam balls with radical, gross out designs. Sorry, I should have said radical, because you need to get that kind of late 80s, early 90s kid image going, don't I? The first set were baseball-sized orbs with names like Screaming Mimi and Slobulus. During that time, they also released larger versions for other sports like soccer and basketball, and they also released action figures as well. Madballs had a tie-in comic but no TV show, which was highly unusual for the time, seeing as the chief way of advertising for toy companies was by using a half-hourly TV show to get the name and sales out there. It did have a video origin story though called Escape from Orb. Look, I'm not going to buy your advert, guys, come on. Put it on telly. Madballs have returned to the shelves a couple of times via alternative toy companies in both the mid-2000s and the late 2010s, and they even got an animated short on YouTube in 2017. And get this, an Xbox Live game called Madballs in Babu Invasion in 2009. So now we've handled the balls, let's look at the computer game made by Denton Designs for Ocean in 1987 for the Spectrum, for the Commodore 64 and the Amstrad CPC. Strangely enough, the storyline for this game about gory balls that appeal to kids is one of political intrigue. I mean, of course it is. On the planet Orb, there's a parliament of Madballs who decides what is passed in terms of statutes and laws. However, one of the Madballs, that one being Dustbrain, who is essentially a mummy's head, sees the power gap and makes a grasp for power. He needs the support of the other Madballs and must persuade them to back him as he can complete his ascendancy to absolute power. Not sure if this is a game based around a toy line or an average month in UK governmental politics. He persuades them by bumping his would-be backers off the edge of platforms, like a highly politicised version of a WWE Royal Rumble. Once a ball, and it can only be one of the main famous balls, not the other ones, they're apparently just bureaucrats. Once they are dispatched, they will appear in your ball tube. Ooh, misses. The ball tube is sort of really like your lives tally. If you lose Dustbrain, you can then use Skullface or Hornhead or whoever you've captured until your ball tube is empty, and then Dustbrain's quest for dictatorial power is unfortunately for him at an end. Once you capture a ball by roughhousing it off the side of the level, you must bounce your way to the exit, pop down a funnel and happen upon another potential backer for your political aims. The levels are full of perils, and not just the rotund bureaucrats determined to keep democracy for spheres. There are ramps, holes, pyramids and all sorts of other perils between Dustbrain and his journey to dominance. We're viewing this power struggle from overhead, and so it doesn't look especially flashy, but it works for the gameplay. If you're thinking it looks a bit like Bounder or Rebounder by Gremlin Graphics, that is a very astute observation of you, as this essentially plays as that, but with more aggression. It's initially very frustrating as you only get the one life until you've pinged a chum off of a level, and it's all very bewildering about what you have to do. Controlling a sentient bouncing ball is as responsive as it sounds, but as soon as you get your head round it, it's fine. It is very, very tricky still, and you have to be dexterous and focused at all times or you'll be bundled off the side. The balls all have stats that slowly decrease upon contact, and so it's important to bounce on food to give you every chance of winning and outmuscling your opponents. However, if you think a Madball is looking particularly pooped, you can always bounce him into one of the bins and get a healthier one out of your supply, if of course you've got any left to spare. It is going to be a frustrating experience for you, I can assure you of that. So if you don't like experiences that are particularly frustrating, it's probably best to avoid it. However, I found it quite compelling, and even as I was getting agitated, I wanted to have another go. I reckon it's worth a go if you can put up with that. It won't be on anyone's top 100 lists, but it's not bad at all, and it plays just as well across all three formats, although I would say that the Commodore 64 one is slightly more forgiving from my experience. Reviews of the time were generally positive too. Your Sinclair called it a completely wicked conversion of a completely weird kiddie's toy. Good frustrating fun for games playing masochists. They gave it an 8 out of 10 in their issue 27. The December 87 issue of Commodore User gave Madballs a 7 out of 10 and stated that they can't remember the last time they had so much fun bouncing severed heads in and out of dustbins. That's a little bit of a worrying review when you think about it. Amstrad Action weren't so keen in their issue 29 though. They say there is no incentive to play as all you do is bounce around. They gave it a 48%. They don't want you to play with your balls, but I think that you should. What's up next in our weird licenses? Well, the World Cup is, nearly upon us. So it's probably a good idea we have a look at a few weird football games. And I think first off we'll do one based on England's most capped player. Yes, I'm of course talking about Peter Shilton and his game, Handball Maradona. Like, subscribe, and K, thanks, bye.